Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I feel like absolute crap. I caught the flu from my son. I've had a fever all night. Took some Tylenol. I feel a little bit better, but definitely not going to be taking any trades today. And yeah, it was like a really bad night's sleep and everything. Well, let's come in and take a look at the markets. I'm not going to like sit and at least not. Yeah, just I want to at least watch the market here because I just was like a hard sleep and I was just like really effing bored. All right, wow. The market has not moved too much from yesterday. You can see we had like the down move yesterday kind of increased rates up to the 3.75 area. Since that time, we've basically been flat here in the treasuries. We are getting a buy impulse in here from the ADP number being quite under expectations, but market seems to be washing that one out at the moment. Same thing here in ES, a little bit of a sell yesterday, kind of out of nowhere. I think this was related to Apple. So there's a news story that Apple was helping the Chinese government. That doesn't look very good. And, you know, everything that's been going on in the city where they manufacture things means that there's going to be a big shortfall and it's really going to cut into their profits. So it doesn't completely match up, but our best guess for what caused that large down move yesterday was a move coming in from Apple. Okay. Oil we do have on the upswing though, as is gold and silver. Copper. Copper's looking really nice actually. And then we'll come and look at the dollar. The dollar's still above 106. And Bitcoin actually having a little bit of a jump yesterday as well. Good morning, Mission. So, the big thing today is that we got Chairman Powell. Okay, he speaks later in the day. It's going to be well after our stream. And it appears that the market is like hedging very aggressively for this event. The market got really slammed from what he said last FOMC meeting. I think I still believe that was a little bit of a misunderstanding. So I don't think that coming in and really bracing ourselves for like a really big hawkish surprise really makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot of people doing that. So when I'm looking at the analysis from the street, the analysis I keep seeing is that everybody's hedged, and after he's done speaking, that we'll have a melt up move. And I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's my base case as well, that he's not going to say anything too important, and then the markets will rally the rest of the week. And again, we did just have ADP news, and the ADP news was not very good, so I'm not too hopeful for a good jobs report on Friday. So I guess that kind of helps the market too, right? I'm really worried that I'm gonna get pneumonia, man. Because when I cough, it's coming out of my chest. And not only that, but It just came on so quick. Like, I was fine yesterday morning. It was good through most of the day, and then well, I did go and shovel the snow. That's about when things kind of started turning down. I thought that because Asher had it for a while and everything, that I probably had built up some immunity and everything, but man, it just hit me so hard. This is definitely worse than COVID. It's definitely worse than COVID. It's got to be the flu. So they were testing positive for the flu when my daughter was, so that's probably what it is. Well, okay, so we had a bit of a spike in all of the markets off of the ADP jobs number. That pretty quickly retraced. Now here in the treasuries, open, but not a whole lot of activity. So worst part is like all of my muscles are sore. Like every muscle feels tired and sore and stuff. I also might be a little quieter today just because I'm just so tired. Just don't feel like talking, I guess. I kind of expected the markets to be a little sleepy today because they are again waiting on Powell later in the day, but I thought that there would be a better reaction to the ADP news, especially with the way that it came out. Let's pull that up here. What was it exactly? US ADP employment change 127,000 versus an expected 200,000. That's a pretty decent shift. FinancialTimes.com. Doesn't anyone do due diligence anymore? Nah, they never did, dude. They never did. People make decisions based on emotions and then try and come up with a logic to justify their decision afterwards. That's 100% true. That's what people tend to do. And it takes, you know, like, if you don't do that, you're probably autistic or something. Oh, I didn't catch the US defeats Iran 1-0 to move on to next. You know, when I worked for the bank, World Cup was a big deal. Like every major match was on the TVs. You know, they have the TVs is usually turned into CNBC. And they're like the end of every row. So, you know, everybody always got that TV to see all the time. And so yeah, the World Cup would be on those, and people really got into it. And I haven't really thought about it much since the last time that happened. But I'm hearing a lot more about it this time, maybe because of all the controversy of it being in Qatar and everything. Is that correct? I forget where it was. I think I got everything out of my chest, but it still kind of feels like, ugh. I still kind of feel like short of breath, I guess you could say. So you got to remind me, when Lucas comes in, we were talking about an indicator last night, and I think I got it. I don't think that I can make it for free because it has some other important code in it that I don't want out. But we'll work something out. I thought it was kind of fun. Oh man, am I sweating? It's like I am. Okay, let's see here. Let's read this. From Zero Hedge, ADP signals turning point. Weakest labor gains since January 2021. Manufacturing job losses soar. The midterms are over, and so any pretense of a strong as hell economy are out the window, proving some ammo for folks to believe this morning's ADP report ahead of Friday's payroll print may come in very ugly. After a notable rise in October, despite an aggressively tightening Fed, expectations were for a smaller 200K print in November, but instead ADP reports only 127K jobs were added in November, the lowest since January 2021. Service providing jobs rose 213K, while jobs producing jobs fell 86K, with manufacturing job losses soaring. But fear not, we added 224 bartenders and waiters. Wow. Manufacturing down by 100,000. Information, financial services, professional business all down pretty big. Yep. Then there's this tweet from Zero Hedge. AMC Networks to lay off about 20% of its U.S. employees, reports Dow Jones. As long as U.S. hires 5 million waiters and bartenders in November, all is well. Nella Richardson, ADP chief economist, said, turning points can be hard to capture in the labor market, but our data suggests that the Federal Reserve tightening is having an impact on job creation and pay gains. In addition, companies are no longer in hyper-replacement mode. Fewer people are quitting, and the post-pandemic recovery is stabilizing. Treasury's pushing the downside here. I didn't hear any other news. Let me come over here and just double-check some things. Okay, so that's the core PCE prices. I'm sorry. U.S. GDP quarter over quarter, second estimate 2.9 versus 2.8, GDP deflator 4.3 versus 4.1, and core PCE prices preliminary 4.6 versus an expected 4.5, with wholesale inventories up month over month at 0.8 versus an expected 0.5. So I'm actually surprised the market's moving that much. I think that ADP number is way more important than any of the numbers that we got just there. And I'm not quite sure I understand why you would sell it, but maybe they're just trying to shove it because, you know, they're short for Powell. Okay, anyways. Pay growth remained elevated even as it continued a modest but broad-based deceleration. Job changers noted their fifth straight slowdown and the smallest increase in pay since January. Pay growth for jobs stayed edged down too, led by leisure and hospitality, which had a rapid run-up in 2021 but is falling since March. Okay, it is retracing a bit here. So I can continue to see this sort of like, oh, you know what? We should probably look at rolling over, huh? Let's check the new month in the 10-year. No, the liquidity over there is pretty crappy too. Today is the last day, right? Yeah. The full-blown treasury contact seems to be moving, though. E-mini's selling there hard. By the way, good morning, Morgan. Are treasuries a buy? Well, so here this morning, I don't know if we're gonna really get favorable order flow. I think overall for the day, it probably is a buy. I think that people are a little bit too scared about what Powell might say this afternoon. But hey, I could be dead wrong, huh? That's not a bet that I'm willing to make, I don't think. I think, you know, I'm not feeling very good today. I am super sick. I had a fever all night. I'm only be able to like handle sitting in a chair here because of Tylenol. And you know what? Perfect day to be doing that. It's probably order flows are going to be a little iffy. I mean, the whole start of this week, the flows have been a little iffy, haven't they? We've had some moves for sure. There's been some opportunity, but can't really, they were having a hard time explaining the moves and stuff, aren't we? What's your thoughts of just going to Treasury Direct and buying the 4-week T-bills? Seems to be the safest investment ever. Well, I guess you could consider it as safe investment, but it's, you have a lot. So first of all, how do we put this? Okay, so like the bonds and debt instruments that have the most duration, which is a measure of their sensitivity to changes in interest rates, are the ones that have the furthest out maturities and the ones that have the lowest yields. So if you're buying a bill, I guess maybe not a bill. I guess the bills wouldn't really count because the bills, they don't pay a yield, right? You just purchase it at a discount and then it pays back to you. Okay. But what I'm getting at is that the interest rates on those bills can change quite quickly. So it's not going to change on you like you're going to lose money per se. But what will happen is you get basically reinvestment risk. So you keep it for 4 weeks, right? And then 4 weeks from now, the interest rate that you get isn't the same, right? So I think the real play was to buy those inflation protected bonds that were yielding like 10% at one point. Like, that's crazy. there's a lot of restrictions on how many you can buy and everything, but that was a good deal. Yeah, you could buy it at auction. But what I'm saying is 4 weeks from now, then your bond expires and you make like $5 and then you have to reinvest again. Except for that maybe the yield that you get won't be as good. And you'll be like, oh man, I wish I had just bought a 10-year treasury. Locked in that higher interest rate for 10 years or something like that. Can you tell how sick I am from my voice? Because I don't really feel like it's like really in my throat, but I definitely sound different, don't I? Yeah, I'm sure I sound terrible. The thing that's bothering me right now is when I breathe in, I feel a little bit of pain like right here. So I'm worried that I'm getting pneumonia, which would be quite crazy because I've only really been sick for a day. But you know what? I really don't want to go and like lay down right now. So like, oh my gosh, has this ever happened to you when you're sleeping? Oh, this was so awful. It was such a nightmare, especially for somebody with ADHD. Like, I was reading this thing the other day where they were saying that people with ADHD tend to not like going to sleep because they hate being alone with themselves in their own mind and being bored. And they have all of these traumatic experiences from dealing with that when they were a little kid and their parents forcing them to go to sleep. Well, like last night, I wasn't feeling very good. So I basically quarantined myself upstairs the whole afternoon. And I think that I started periodically falling asleep at like 8 o'clock. But I woke up at about 1 o'clock. And I thought, okay, I got a really good rest there. I bet you it's like 4 or 5 o'clock and I just need to nap for a little bit longer and then I can wake up and I can try and do something. Because I feel so bored and I want to get moving around and stuff because all my muscles are sore and I'm just like, I keep squirming in my bed and flexing all of my muscles because that all just really hurts and I'm having a hardcore fever. So I'll get super cold. I'll snuggle up in the bed sheets and then get too warm and then start sweating and have to cool back off and all that. So I'm done with that, right? And I look at the clock, it's only 1 o'clock. Oh man. And so I was just on and off, in and out of sleep for 4 hours. It's awful. They are continuing to push down. I'm not sure I understand this one. Micro yields did come in a little bit there. We've had about a 10 basis point or 1 basis point increase here, 10 ticks. But let's come back and look at that news, yeah? GDP 2.9 versus 2.8. GDP deflator 4.3 versus 4.1. PCE prices 4.6 versus 4.5. So are the core PCE prices really that bad? Oh, today is US Chicago PMI. That's gonna be interesting. I don't know. This is a little bit more aggressive of a sell than I was anticipating, and I can't, once again. I mean, it was kind of the same thing yesterday though, right? It's just kind of moved and we can't explain why. But maybe somebody's just hedging for Powell. I'm trying to cough thinking that I have something in my lungs, but nothing comes out. I'm actually surprised. I mean, I do look sick, but I don't look too terrible. My skin isn't like just normal skin color. I think it's just a little maybe yellowish today. I'm super tempted to go short. That was about 10,000 contracts to sell. This would normally be a spot that I would maybe be interested in taking some one tickers. In fact, I was kind of thinking about maybe doing it, but we're actually holding relatively thick bids and offers here on the inside. I would say liquidity is a little bit better than yesterday in some respects. Carnivore here, my skin issues cleared up after about 5 months. It's also been very hard to eat. You know, I just keep thinking my son, he's been having this for like 5 days. Like he's had a fever for 5 days. And he went to the doctor yesterday and they told us that he had an ear infection. So that's probably why he's been like crying and stuff is the ear infection. But I just feel so icky, and it's got to be so much worse, more unbearable for him. So I feel bad. And I can't get him to take any medication. It's like, well, okay, we can make you feel better by giving you some liquid Tylenol, but he refuses to swallow it. I don't know what you do. We try putting like tasty things next to it and everything but he refuses to do it. So we got some Fed speakers coming up, but that is some really aggressive short volume here, like that little extension, and there's another tick down. Like they're selling this so hard. You know that as soon as I'm like, all right, let's go short, it's gonna reverse. Trump campaign increasing screening after Nick went to his dinner. You never want to speak too soon on Donald Trump, but I'm seriously wondering if that was like a really destroyed his future chances, because what Republicans liked about Donald Trump was that he was effective. And when you got Yeezy coming along and doing all this crazy stuff, that kind of makes people think that that's not what's happening anymore. Made a quick $50 on that news release. I really don't understand why they sell in the Treasury so hard. I don't think it had anything to do with those numbers. Nah, there's definitely got to be, well, could be somebody coming in and selling. Like it may not be a news-driven move, but it's just so aggressive. From 27 to 22, so like 14, 16 ticks there. And you just whoosh. Wait, how did I get 14 to 16? 7 minus 2 is 5, so 10 ticks. U.S. third quarter economic growth revised higher. Maybe that's why? Yeah, like one of the things I'm having a hard time sorting out here is that of all of those economic numbers that were just released, I think that the ADP jobs number is probably the most important, and they seem to have completely ignored that. Well, they're definitely getting the whole sort of thing at 24. Let's try and keep myself awake here. Let's try some sim trades. Well, no fill. Why did I just click refresh on my tweet deck? That doesn't make any sense. I'm definitely out of it today, huh? What do you mean by grand rising? Be careful with I'm only going to take I'm definitely not going to take any live trades today. I don't think that the day overall, at least not this morning, looks very good for trading anyways. But who am I to say? We got a pretty strong move there in the treasury that I just can't explain. In other words, good morning. You know, like I've always heard that, you know, like when you're greeting people, you should be enthusiastic, and when they ask you how you're doing, you should be like, I'm doing great, I feel so good today, and all these sorts of things. I'm never like that. I'm always like, this is what I'm thinking right now. It's probably a bummer to people, but is it a good morning? No, this is a terrible morning. probably one of the worst mornings of my life. It's good that I haven't done anything crazy or, you know, lost any money or anything like that, but I don't think I've ever felt worse. You know what other crazy, like, you want to get into all of the strange, irrational thoughts that Seth has and stuff, right? What happens if I get brain cancer, man? If I can't handle a little flu with a fever, how am I going to be able to stick through if I end up having to get chemotherapy of some sort? You know, not that I anticipate that I'm going to get cancer or anything like that. Heavens, I hope not. But it's, you know, it could happen. Could happen. I'm not sure that I would fare very well because I feel like that one little bug hits me and I'm immediately down for the count, you know? They're heading down again. They're heading. Are they gonna do this? What? Tick. 400. There's some hitting into the previous low. Oh man, this is nuts. Didn't go that time. I could so do an Obama impression. I don't think I could. You know what? Obama's an interesting guy. Yeah, I'm a Republican kind of guy, and I understand why Republicans dislike Obama. I really feel that he implemented a lot of policies and did things with the executive branch that really kind of set things in motion down the wrong track. Okay, so I really didn't like his policy. But as like an individual person, he seems like an incredibly interesting person. Like, speaking with him would be interesting, right? Speaking with Donald Trump probably would be frustrating, right? He's got to be ADHD, man. He's just always all over the place. But Obama, so he was always interesting. So can you tell me what stocks we were looking at on the order book? Okay, so I have a video where I go into, it was actually a week or two ago that I posted this, my NinjaTrader and Jigsaw workspace walkthrough. But just really quick, this is ES. So this is S&P 500, right? Then this is the 30, the 10, and the 5. And then over here again, 2, 5, 10, 30. I drew that 30 that was a pretty good 30. So you can kind of, you know, it's kind of a little bit like grayish, so you might not see it unless like you zoomed in on it, but it says the name of the instrument there. So we're mostly trading treasuries. I did have for a while stock order book data, but we didn't really make too much use of it, so I canceled it. I thought it was super cool, but you know, I wasn't going to do any trades with it, and people weren't really bringing up any individual stocks to look at, so I gave up on it. I'll close that Epic Pen thing. For some reason it's not going well. Oh, look, we got two 2000s down at 22 and 22.5. So maybe we're getting the distribution. These headphones. So I got these headphones. They're like they're Pioneers, and they sound great. They really have really strong bass in them. They're production headphones. But the ear covers, they have like this faux leather stuff, and it flakes off. It frustrates me so much because I like the sound of them, and I think that they're comfortable. Just made out of a crappy material. Your Bose is the same. You need to like replace the ear cups or something. I don't think that they really make stuff where you can just replace them. I think you probably need to get completely new headphones. I could go for the new Pioneers, the 350 that are like the whatevers, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking that I need to go to something different. I think I would still want to have like DJ style headphones, because the DJ style headphones are really good at cutting out any kind of outside noise. Man, this thing is just not stopping. I feel so out of the loop. I can't explain that move. I feel like falling asleep. Even though it's been pushing down pretty aggressively, there has been quite a bit of noise in this area, so not the best place to be trying to take a trade unless I'm gonna take it. I don't know what I was gonna say. Completely lost track of my train of thought. Maybe could be a good place to try and catch a small scalp. I think I'd have to buy it here at this point, though. I don't think that would work very well. You know, it's still pushing. I don't think you want to trade against that. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Yesterday we chatted about how basically using TA doesn't work in past price movement, not being indicative of what's to come, which I agree with, but it makes me wonder how Jim Simmons had such success. Well, that's kind of the thing that I think is funny about all of that, is whoever said that he was using technical analysis. He seems to be using like non-fundamental data, sure, but I've never seen anything to suggest that he's using chart patterns and that sort of stuff. Everything that I've seen says that they're probably trading correlated pairs. Yeah. I'm gonna try this with a sim. So he's looking at two assets that are supposed to be correlated, and like they can look at like the whole complex of instruments and use that information to find trades. That's why they were surprised that these inefficiencies existed, because they thought that they'd already be taken. That's what I think they're doing. That, and you can do what we do, which is you can use information, especially those kinds of guys. They could get like proprietary data from a bank or something to study and try and figure out the tendencies of large players, right? Oh man, now I'm feeling sleepy. Wish I knew why I get so sleepy all of a sudden. Well, one tick against me. It's not looking so hot. Wow, you made 60 ticks in the ass? They're definitely moving over there. I might just take a quick little nap here, man. Hard to keep my eyes open. My leg is bouncing like crazy, but it's hard for me to keep my eyes open. Well, I haven't gotten filled, but so far it's kind of suggesting to me that I did read this spot correctly. So I'm happy about that. I watched an interview with him where he loosely said they used relational mathematical models to trade. I'm not proposing they use TA, but inputs to those models suggest past data, whatever that data may be, is at some level indicative of future performance. Well, yeah, so like, oh, we got filled. If you're trading a correlation and you're fast, right? But I guess I would say you're right. Yeah, there is some data that, from what I've seen, can very effectively predict future data. It's just price movement. The change in price itself is not one of them. So all of the math and that sort of stuff, it still applies to trading, for sure. I'm liking how this turned out. Easy, so I just need a team of mathematicians. Yeah. Well, you know what I think is interesting about that whole thing was like, he came in and he was doing, I think he was doing it for somebody else, and then he made enough money that he decided to go and start his own fund, and they started hiring people, but it took them a really, really long time. It took them a really, really long time to become as prestigious as they are. It didn't just happen overnight. They had to work hard for years and years before they figured it out. Isn't that interesting? But it is. It's kind of like I feel that if you're going to take advantage of the TA side, that you need a PhD in math and a really effing fast internet connection, right? Can barely even look at the camera straight. Almost, come on. A few traded into me there, but no fill. There we go. I thought that was a really good trade, no? Hey, maybe I'm not too bad when I am super sick and half falling asleep, huh? Should we bust out the live account now? Throw 5 contracts on, see how it works out. That reminds me, the other day I got a message on LinkedIn from somebody that was recruiting for a quite prestigious quant firm. They're like, oh, I'm just following up on this before our senior management team has asked us to reach out specifically to you. We really want you on our team and all this stuff. I'm like, I think you're full of shit. I'm not sure I believe that you're actually... I didn't say that. I just said we've never spoken before. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna talk. I guess we can talk. Morning, Sal. I was super skeptical, so I'm kind of excited to see if they respond today. I wasn't like outright rude, but surely he's gonna be like, oh, he's skeptical. So have you heard these stories of where people, they went like through the whole thing, like they did the interviews and went through a whole fake interview process and everything so that he could at the end give him his bank account number to the criminals, right? Like there have been scams that elaborate. Oh man, I'm gonna fall asleep again. I definitely fell asleep there. You know, that reminds me. I am sleeping, dude. Look at how can you tell how sick I am, man? I think that what's happened to me. Oh, I totally fell asleep. Yeah. I'm not feeling very good today, guys. I don't want to like just sit down and not do the stream because I'm so effing bored. So effing bored. But yeah, I've had a fever, I've got the flu. And for whatever reason, my chemicals are kind of all getting out of whack and I'm getting sleepy now. Maybe it's because the Tylenol is finally coming in and like getting all that inflammation down, and so now my body wants to sleep. I don't know. I guess I have had times in the past where Tylenol made me sleepy. You think it's going to be an up day in ES? If any of you can explain why the Treasury's sold so hard after all of that news this morning, I'd really love it. I really can't explain what it's doing. It was a very aggressive downside order flow. It looks like it's backing off now, like in price terms, but the volume is still just as much to the downside. So but for the E-mini, yeah, I think they're a little bit too scared of Powell. I think that it'll be okay. Which news? Well, so we had at 6:15, we had the ADP employment change, which was under expectations, 127K versus 200K. Then we got at the bottom of the hour, we got US GDP quarter over quarter, second estimate 2.9 versus 2.8, US GDP deflator preliminary 4.3 versus 4.1, US core PCE prices preliminary 4.6 versus 4.5, and wholesale inventories 0.8 versus 0.5. And US advanced goods trades balance negative 99 billion versus an expected negative 90 billion. Anyways, so after all that news came up, we saw a rally in the dollar and the treasury sold super hard. Yeah, it's not non-farm, it's ADP, which is a really good it's a really good indication of where a non-farms might come out at, but anyways, so after that, after all that news came in, the treasury market sold really hard. It seems like that there was something in those headlines that they really didn't like, but I can't see what it is. Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's just because I'm sick and I'm gonna find out like later. I'm gonna look at it and I'm like, oh no, duh, that's like, of course. At the same time, the move did look so I think that we've kind of come back to post meta order regime change back up, right? It seems pretty dead at the moment, so whatever it was that was driving them, I don't think it's a factor anymore. I do feel though overall that the market is too overly concerned about how hawkish Powell will be. Powell doesn't want to see the stock market have like a huge rally or anything like that. He just wants it to be like gentle, smooth sailing, right? But everybody read that last FOMC as he wants to punish the market, you know? Like falling asleep again. Should just change the today's stream to nap time. Have everybody come into the stream, watch me take a nap. I'd say this pullback in the treasuries is pretty decent. They stand a good chance of maybe retracing that down move. Don't see anything. Nick Tamaro's financial conditions have eased since the October CPI report on November 10th fanned investors' optimism that inflation will improve dramatically next year. Goldman Sachs says the easing in financial conditions over the last 3 weeks is worth 4 to 5 basis points of GDP. 0.4 to 0.5 pp of GDP in 2023. The question is, will they pass the view out? I feel like this session is actually going pretty quickly. I feel like we just sat down and it's already 7:18. 10 minutes to go to the E-mini open. See, the headline I see on Zero Hedges, GDP revised higher as PCE comes in hotter than expected. Maybe that's why the selling. Aren't treasuries supposed to be negatively correlated to the markets? Not necessarily. Switches. There's different regimes. So we're thinking about the whole treasuries negatively correlated to the markets. It goes through market regimes, and depending on what's going on, you could see them move in tandem or not. And really, you kind of want to see, are they in line with each other or not, to get some idea of what the current macroeconomic framework is, or as a confirming signal for what you think the macroeconomics are going to do that day. Treasury Secretary Yellen is speaking. FX macro, Yellen says, I have no plan to leave role. And FX macro's comment is, then at least fire Gensler. Yes, please. Please. He's proven himself to be a total hack. Need to get rid of him. I'm just hearing the News Squawk reporting it. Financial Juice has tweeted a few things about it. Secretary Yellen, COVID lockdowns in China are a risk to the global economy. Treasury's still chilling here. I am not okay, Lucas. I'm taking a nap, man. I had a fever last night. I decided to stream. I mean, I don't feel like streaming, but I was so bored last night and just had I kept waking up and waking up. I was like, I gotta do something, get my mind engaged and everything. But now sitting here and I'm feeling sleepy. It could be sometimes when I take like Tylenol, it makes me sleepy. So that might be what's going on. Yeah. Oh, I was waiting for you to come in because I want. Oh no, wait. You're not Luke. Lucas. Oh no. You're the same one. That's what I thought. I wanted to show you the chart that I made for you yesterday. Let's pull that up. So it kind of takes advantage of a couple of, I guess you could say, tricks that I built for my other indicators. So I don't think that I want to make it a public indicator. So the issue is in NinjaTrader here, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but in NinjaTrader, like if I want to change this price scale to be like percentage instead of points or something like that, there's no way to do that. So I thought, oh well, we can just make like an indicator that does it. And what if we could make an indicator that will always center it at 0% on the left side of the screen? That makes it a lot easier to compare multiple instruments against each other and stuff like that. So I got in here SPSF percent change. I think I need to make a couple changes to it, but so the big one is that I need to rewrite the auto scale method. Okay, but you can see that this is an exact copy of this. It's just that the first bar starts at 0. See? And if I move it around, see how it kind of wobbles around and everything? So that it can always start at 0. So what you can do, or what I was doing, I have to add a second data series to do this. I think I can change it so that you don't have to do this, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So if I just add NQ on here, okay, and then go and add the indicator again, percent change, and this time change the input series to be the NASDAQ. Okay, so now I got the other one here, and I can drag them on top of each other, right? Oh, and then I have to do this. I have to say I want the scale justification to be the same as the other one on the right. Okay. Also, this data series that I got here. They just do a regular candlestick with a bar width of 1 so that they match each other. Okay, there you go. So now, sorry. Now you have the two of them together. Now let's change it a little bit. Yeah, that's how TradingView does it. That's exactly. I wanted it to be exactly like how TradingView does it. Exactly. So let's just change these data series so that it's all blue. And the other one so that it's all orange so we can tell them apart a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So you can see here, they started at the same, but then on this move up here, the NASDAQ moved up more than the ES. I would plot it with lines. Yeah. Oh, you know, I had it with candlesticks because that's what I had, and that was what it was like the easiest to paint. But yeah, I could switch it to do lines, like a line on close. Nick Tamiros. One difference between what's happened in the run-up to Powell's speech in Jackson Hole versus the last 3 weeks, real rates back then were barely positive and real rates are higher today. Yeah, so it does look nice. I need to like, I need to change the scale and everything. So the issue is that if I want to like repaint, right? Because as I move it, it's like completely shifting all of the values essentially. So you can't do it in the on bar close method. So I had to do it from within the render method and the on render method, and that meant that I basically had to do all my own drawing. So. And that's why the percentages aren't showing very well and all this other stuff. It is kind of funny, though, that Ninja Trader doesn't have that built in yet. I'm going to make a video about Ninja Trader tips and tricks, and I think I want to put that in there. Marco Rubio, the way to avoid a rails strike isn't for Congress to impose a deal made by labor bosses that was rejected by the rank and file of unions representing over half of rail workers. The way to avoid a strike is a new deal that rank and file members will support. Yeah. I can't believe that the Biden administration is just wants to just force them to take, force them to do something. That's not right. Are we getting selling here in the treasury again? Yeah, we are. And we never really saw the meta orders stop selling. The market orders never stopped being sold. Oh, we got to remember that we have Chicago PMI here soon, right? I forget, how many minutes early does it come out? Three minutes. This is Obama's third term. I saw this thing the other day. Some crazy rich guy was saying that he had proof that there was like a deep state running everything and all that. I think the whole thing is kind of kind of funny because the reality is, okay, so there was this thread on Reddit and they're talking about Elon Musk, okay, and for Elon, it was somebody that worked at SpaceX, and the person that worked at SpaceX was basically saying that everybody, like the whole company is basically set up to manage Elon Musk. Okay, like, so they all know all of the strategies to like how to say something so that it sounds good to Elon and all of these sorts of things, right? And basically the implication was that Elon wasn't really this genius or very good at business, and that everybody just, you know, manages him well enough that they get by. Well, I got news for you guys. That's how like almost all CEOs work. Yellen says she is skeptical of cryptocurrencies. But the reality is that these jobs are basically become too complicated for one person. They've become too complicated for one person. So it really has turned into that the politicians aren't like leaders or orchestrating things or any of that. They're actors. The politicians have basically become actors. I'm telling you. So are there people? I don't know. I would like to think that if this was really Obama's third term, that things would be going a little bit better. It seems to me that whoever Joe Biden's handlers aren't very good at it. Oil is moving great today. Yeah, it is on a good uptrend, isn't it? It is curious to see them up above $80 again. Lavrov saying something about avoiding nuclear conflict between major military powers. Same old, same old. Man, I really am out of it. There's this guy, when I was a missionary, there was this guy, his name was Durgan, and he would laugh like that. He would say something like, I think I picked that up from him. And anytime he wanted to say something, he always had to be like, hey. I mean, because this was like he was a chronic smoker and was doing, you know, dealing drugs and all this stuff before he became a member of our church. So he kind of had like the really, what would you say, like raspy voice or whatever it is, you know? That's what he would do. Hey, you know what I mean? Oh, I missed that guy. They actually watch. Wait, what are you talking about now? Who's watching CNBC? Are we talking about the inside job people? You know what? I didn't finish that. I guess I'll watch that today. Basically, there's no way I'm gonna work. I can't actually like do any real work. So I'll watch something on Netflix. Maybe I'll watch that. Finish watching that at least. Man, when it sells and I look at the chart, I'm like flabbergasted how aggressive it looks. I'm just flabbergasted by how hard it sells when it actually does it. Like I took that trade earlier that was kind of like a mean reversion trade. That was like I got super lucky on that trade, I think, to some extent, because it was a good trade, but it was against the trend. I'm trying to get out of the workplace. So do I need to like get out of the house more and go to work more so that I can have a stronger immune system? Is that what this? Because I feel like I've just been. The kids caught them all, because before this they had the baby had RSV. And now we're all getting flu. Well, I hope that my wife doesn't come down with it too. She was closer to him, so I'm surprised that she hasn't gotten sick. I got sick before her. Because if she gets sick, then it's gonna really be rough. It's okay, I can do it. I can take care of her. She was surprised. Yellen says she was surprised by the FTX collapse. You know what? I have a theory about the FTX collapse. Because there's all this stuff I was seeing where like people were obsessed about what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter, but nobody's talking about the FTX collapse. And I do think it's very much the case that legacy media is like trying to like smooth things over because they basically got suckered on this and were promoting it and they shouldn't have been. But my theory is that people actually don't care that much. I think, like, I haven't been following the FTX stories too closely. And I haven't been reading the stories. I think that it was like a big thing at first, maybe. But I think that it's not really generating the clicks and that's why you're not hearing too much about it. That's my theory. Can you poke holes in my theory? Am I wrong? Okay, so we got 2 minutes here to the Chicago PMI. We're looking for a reading of 47.0 versus a previous reading of 45.2. I think that this is going to be a bad number. Let's see. I think I should always try and make a prediction before the news, and let's see if I'm right. Yeah. Oh, man. It does look like a lot of this movement in the treasuries today is correlated with the dollar. But not too aggressively. Maybe the Japanese yen is under pressure today for some reason. I have this, okay, so there was the Chicago, it must be really bad. That must be a really bad number. So what do you think the number is? 42? The answer to life, the universe, everything? I must be really bad if I put on a sim trade and I'm falling asleep, right? That is some strong buying in the treasury too, by the way. Ugh. All right, here we go. Holy Nikes. Wait, what? Did I hear that number correctly? 37? Did they just say 37? Wait, 30? What the? Whoa. Whoa. Wait, okay, so let's come back over here. Forex Factory. Okay, so this is a diffusion index. So a 50 is, you know, even. 37. Wow. Okay, so 37 is not quite as bad as the worst months for COVID, but it's beyond that. It's like the worst that we've ever had. That is a terrible number. I am shocked at how bad that was. Big ol' order there at 26.5. I think normally you would buy this, but it seems like that whoever's selling this is pretty adamant about it. Oh, we got big orders on both sides of this thing now, 25 and 26.5. So don't let my napping here fool you. This is pretty good stuff here, man. You're not gonna hit it? You step up to it like that and then you don't hit it, huh? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Dude, I'm thinking that we could get a strong trend come in here because the liquidity in the 10-year has definitely increased. It's definitely thickened up here. The live stream on YouTube keeps starting me off like an hour behind and I'm not. Oh, really? Yeah, you have to push the little live button to catch up to where we are. Or you know what I like to do is just watch it like double speed until it catches up. I'll do that sometimes. Okay. Powell wants to see less jobs and more unemployment, right? Yes. So bad. I'm so bad at the fundamental stuff. I always forget what numbers are going to be good, bad for equities. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that Chicago number was pretty wild. But like, look, they're selling it. Jolt's more important. I'm not sure I would say it's more important, but it's definitely a key data point here. But like the thing is, the selling in the treasuries that we've seen here today, I'm uncertain if that has anything to do with the fundamentals. I've not seen any of a number here this morning that was like, oh yeah, this is super hawkish. I've not seen that. So my best guess is that it's just hedging for Powell or something like that, you know? There's quite a bit of back and forth there at 24. I closed my short way too early, says Zach. Well, do you think that we continue up or what? I have to say that Chicago PMI number was pretty shocking, and it's just coming back. It seems to me like somebody is to come out here to sell it today, and they didn't care what the numbers were going to be. It being that low didn't move the markets much. Well, I mean, it did move like almost 16 ticks in the 10-year. So that's a reasonably large move, right? It's just it's retraced so quickly, right? So talking about non-farms payroll on Friday, if we get less jobs and higher unemployment by a meaningful margin, we should expect stocks to rise, right? Probably, yeah. So I'll tell you what. One of the things I'm looking for on the non-farms on Friday, it's possible. I'm not saying I think for sure this is, I'm betting that this is happening or whatever, but there's been some estimates out there for a long while now that suggested that by December we should be posting negative jobs numbers. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on that. Oh, come on. You got to do more than one contract? Come on, bro. Too much back and forth at 25. I'm starting to love trading the news. Well, that's good. Trading the news is way more fun, I think, than just staring at a stupid chart, right? You know what that reminds me? There was a thread on Reddit about one of our competitors, and it was so negative. Oh my gosh. I mean, like I complain about them too from time to time, right? But some of these guys were so mean in their comments. They were like, this guy is a terrible trader and he has no clue what he's doing. And I was just like, whoa, wait, what, really? If everybody, and there was like not a single positive comment in that whole Reddit thread about Matt. And I can't figure out. So if all the traders dislike him, why do they watch? Is it because they have a... No, it wasn't Vinny. No, it was Matt. Talking about Matt. Nobody ever brings up Vinny. You kidding me? Only when he's self-promoting himself does he pop up. So don't say his name. We don't want him pop back. But I was like wondering, and so if everybody thinks he's not a very good trader, why is it that the YouTube algorithm pushes him so much? He has the good thumbnails, I guess. Could be. Could be. Tell you what, we're gonna finish over the weekend. Maybe I can work on it today. Maybe I will get some presence of mine around me. Probably not, but I can dream, can't I? To be able to write a little bit on this PDF, because I already have it pretty much written out. I just don't have like need to fill out a little bit of parts and do some proofreading and stuff. Put some images and stuff in it, I think, like really make it a nice PDF. And then Matt can read it. Maybe that will improve his trading. I tend to look for channels with the least amount of followers on Twitter and YouTube. My man. The reality is that if our channel was as popular as Matt's, we would probably have to like change things, wouldn't we? So I mean, it would still be an overall good thing for us in the community. So we shouldn't poo-poo it, but yeah, there's some downsides to popularity is all I'm getting at. I know, so a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know, like he must not actually be trading because he does so terrible sometimes and stuff. But I'm like, well, he's just trading combines, like that's only $150 a month. That's not that much. And he's probably making like 10K from the channel. like in all seriousness, he's probably making 10K in the channel. Can you believe that my offer at 26 did not fill? 195 in line and no fill. Anyways, I thought it was really interesting. I did not expect the sentiment to be that negative. I think this is the most trancey song that they have in all of the stream beats, huh? Maybe I should make some trance for them. DBP, my theory is that the high GDP equals Fed not easing rate hikes. It could be. I have kind of thought that, that maybe the previous quarter being revised and everything is a factor here, but it does seem to me that some of this flow that we're seeing here today is a little bit just like doesn't seem to be coupled to news, right? Toucan PMI way below consensus. I think we're ranging until Powell speed. Yeah. Well, the market is moving though. Like, there's definitely trade here today. That was a good uptick. I like it. Okay, so Jolt's jobs openings higher than forecast, 10.344 million versus 10.25 million. Oh no, I don't like that. I wanted to just okay, flat. Okay, wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, but when I clicked that one, I really wanted to puke all of it, and then I would have puked it all at break even. That's okay. It's just a sim order anyways. That I have to say, I mean, Jolt's jobs opening is definitely like an important number, and it has been important lately, but that was quite the reaction to that. And a little bit of you know, we are kind of getting ping-ponged back and forth here now, aren't we? I'm still of the opinion that the jobs opening number is not real. Like, I think that companies are posting job openings because they have to, and that they're not actually trying to fill those positions. Yeah, I wouldn't say the last 4, but I definitely remember last month's Jolts really moving the markets, huh? It is curious to me watching the treasuries here. It is more liquidity at the moment. Let's try this the other way, shall we? That's not looking so good, is it? It's been a little bit more stingy today with the fills, hasn't it? We're definitely getting into a thicker market. There we go. See, 1440, that's a pretty strong bid on the inside. Liquidity providers are here in a big way this morning. One more, please. Nope. I got a toy with me. Oh, really? That's interesting. So that offer has been anywhere from 300 to 700. Seems like it keeps breaking up though. That extra sleepiness is coming over me again. That's the 10-year for you. You're waiting for a fill. Oh, I did get filled. Okay, cool. How much did I lose on that first one? 70? Oh, no, it was way worse than that. 185, 187. But I took a winner earlier, so net we're up. And they did touch a new low, but only kind of like just barely. Okay, now that time I almost like fell over. I was falling asleep. Oh, they turned back. Man, it's just like when it ticks, man. Those bids just completely pull out of the way, don't they? Let's come over here to Twitter, see if there's anything I missed. Job openings, month over month. That's the chart Nick Timmeros is posting. Jim Iurio, an ugly set of numbers today with ADP and Chicago PMI coming in much lower than expected and core PCE slightly higher than expected. Stagflation is here. This is easily fixable and there is zero chance the government will fix it. Too much on Twitter today, to be honest. Oh, that's weird. Edge Clear guys are doing an Apple Series 8 watch giveaway. Okay. Oh, look at that. 2,000 into the lows. Whoa. Mama. Sell that mother. Woo. I really did. Like when I took this, I don't know if you saw me move my mouse over there. Maybe I should turn the things on so you can see where my mouse is and where I'm clicking and everything. I really did sit there like, well, it's been selling all morning. That news was pretty bad. Maybe I could buy micros here today. But then I said, no, you really are too out of it to really be taking a live trade. So I didn't. I immediately caught myself and said, no, we're not doing that. But like, look, that was okay. We just traded almost 7,000 contracts into 19. These sellers are serious. You say ES is ignoring? Yeah, they are. They're not. They haven't really moved too much this morning, have they? That's curious. I guess the moves that we've seen here in the treasuries aren't gigantic moves, but it's pretty aggressive selling, you gotta admit, man. There they are. I like the bid just pulls, man. Oh, that 18.5 probably not gonna just pull. It's almost there. Come on. Is it the thickest book of the year? You might be right, Octavius. It's definitely thicker today than it has been. We've got multiple 2000s. I don't think it's probably not the thickest of the year, but it's the thickest that it's been in months. It really does make me wonder what's going on. So it seems to me like somebody's out here to sell it come hell or high water. So you need to stay sick? Why is that, Octavius? Is it more entertaining to watch me drift off to sleep? Or are you saying that me being sick tends to be good for liquidity, so they're like, Seth is sick, we can run them all now. I'm wondering, I didn't like that pullback there. The liquidity. You know, another thing is this could just be somebody coming in and going short the treasury for the duration of the contract, right? Like that's the thing that I think I'm seeing here is when you see like an increase in liquidity overall, it's usually a sign that one or more major players have come into the markets. Because what the banks and so forth have found is that their executions work better if about half of the orders are limit orders, right? So they come in and they start to provide some liquidity. So when you come in and like normally it's 900 and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got 1600, 2000 at every price, that's a pretty dead giveaway that a large operator is in the market executing a large meta order. And in this case, it's pretty clear that it's a sell, right? That's why I was thinking like I should take that trade, even though like I don't really completely understand. Well, actually, with this last one, seeing that jobs number, the job openings number, this is a good reason for us to go for new lows, right? So that's why I took this one and was even thinking about taking it live. But for now, they might be a little stuck. Joseph Wang, monetary policy has the hard decision of making a trade-off between inflation and unemployment. This is ultimately a political choice, so it invites a wide array of political views, but usually cloaked in plausible-sounding economic arguments. It's not easy to tell the two apart. You know, I've never quite seen everybody on Twitter quite zero in on the same kind of argument and on quite like they have today. You know the word, right? It's the magic word today. Stagflation. It's what everybody's thinking right now, I think. What you got here, Carl? Goldman Powell will likely try to avoid a further counterproductive easing in financial conditions by signaling that the FOMC will keep hiking well into 2023. Okay, he will likely try to avoid a further counterproductive easing in financial conditions by signaling that the FOMC will keep hiking well into 2023 to a higher peak than it projected at the September meeting. However, reasons to expect lower future inflation have continued to strengthen. Our jobs workers gap has closed 45% of the distance between its March peak and the level we think is necessary to restore balance to the labor market. Gold dropping? Oh, I bet. I'm kind of losing hope that they're actually going to go and break new lows again, but we can sweat it out. I guess next thing up is oil, huh? You know, so I'm getting all fidgety. It's like my muscles are still sore, and I just feel like stretching and flexing and everything, but it doesn't really help. Oh, there is something going on in ES, isn't there? It looks like an iceberg, huh? I don't know about that one. You know, I don't typically find those kinds of spots terribly effective in ES. I think the general wisdom would be that it reverses off of that, but it's been such a long time since I've seen one like that. Look at the dollar, though. Look at that dollar chart at the bottom of my screen. The dollar is just taking off here. What's ES? ES is the symbol for the E-mini S&P 500 futures on the CME. SPOOs. You might hear them call it SPOOs. Or crack. I like to call it crack. It really is like trader crack. It's always doing something. always making you think that you can predict its next move. Schumer on House Dem leadership elections. Hakeem Jeffries' elevation as House Democratic leader is a turning point in the history of the United States Congress. Don't know who that is. That is not the guy that they were saying it was going to be, is it? As long as it's not Pelosi, man. He was bad news. Oh. Hakeem Jeffries. I think he could get some better photos of you there on Google search. Oh, I see. So the reason why they're saying it's historical is because he's the first black head of party or whatever we call it. First black Democrat leader. That's cool, I guess. Represents a district that covers parts of Brooklyn and southeastern Queens. Forbes, would you pay $125,000 to see the Northern Lights from a space balloon? No, probably not. Would love to see the Northern Lights, though. Yawn. BlackRock Fink, after we recover from the spike in inflation, we'll be back to 2, 3, or 4% inflation. Okay. I hope to learn the order book as fast as I did with Genslick. I would have come across this style of trading when I first started. Not many videos on YouTube on order flow. Well, I mean, I have my series. There's definitely stuff out there. It's for sure one of those things where like okay, so like on my series, I go through like proven market microstructure. That's the stuff that you really want to learn, because a lot of stuff turns into like maybe it's a good tool, but people sell strategies, you know, and then the strategy might not actually work. That happens a lot. Actually, Gary Norton had a video, or had a post on his blog about this, where he was saying, you know, there's lots of stuff that's claiming to be order flow that's complete nonsense, right? Now he says some other things that's kind of implies that order flow trading can only be a short time frame, and I'm not 100% sure I agree with that, but because you can still utilize reading the order flow to help you sort out what's going on a higher time frame. But so there's that part. But then the second part is that order flow is very much about getting the screen time. It really is. Because there's just such a wide variety of situations and stuff that you kind of want to see. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So if you're coming in and doing day trading, that's likely that you're not going to make money for 2 to 5 years. Like the people, like, that's just, I've noticed that's how long it takes for people. So don't want you to get your hopes up too much. I think you got a long road ahead of you, buddy. Trading is rough. You have to love the markets. There's no way that any reasonable person would get into it otherwise. Okay, so some iceberging at 20, 38.48. That looks like the old treasury market I remember. Well, that means I gotta get out. You've been trading since April 2021? Oh, okay. So I don't. So one of the things that is when you start to see a lot of volume trade in a spot, it has a tendency to create a hole and constrain price. So I see some really large orders going through there, and the bid and offer is relatively low. That means that there's not much reason for me to continue being in, and that's why I exited. I really would have liked to have seen it go further. I would have liked to see that 16, but oh well. Okay, so here is the oil. Let me switch this chart over here. Okay, so oh my. Crude oil man. US EIA crude oil inventories negative 12.581 million versus an expected reading of negative 3.123. So we had a massive crude oil draw. Gasoline inventories 2.77 million versus expected 2.25. That is like, man. So we are seeing some upside movement in oil, but I think there could be more in than that. That's a pretty shocking print. Oh, I totally forgot about the iceberg in ES. It's still sitting at the same spot, isn't it? It's kind of frustrating because I put a lot of time into learning retail trading. Yeah, it's like it's really not like any other kind of discipline. Because any other discipline, you know, if I want to learn how to play the guitar, I can search for playing the guitar, and there's all sorts of blogs and YouTube channels and TikToks and all of this stuff about playing the guitar, right? Well, in trading, you can do that. And there certainly are people on YouTube and stuff, you know, willing to talk about trading and stuff, but how do you know that what they're giving you is actually like useful information, right? Because the real issue with trading is that you really have to go to a really high time frame to see if the strategy is really working, and that's beyond what most people can handle or are willing to do, right? So people aren't testing this stuff themselves. They just heard it from somebody else and it seems like it works and they pass it on. They don't actually do real scientific study on it, right? So that's what I think separates our channel from other channels, is that we have all of this empirical data, and I'm only sharing information that I know I can back up, right? You think that satellite images are a good way to trade crude? I don't know. Could you? How would a satellite image help you see how much the oil well is producing? I'm not sure about that. That sleepiness coming on again. "30 minutes. I can stay awake for 30 minutes. Yeah. This has been a good day. I wonder if it will be this thick tomorrow. If it is, that would be really good, right? So is there, I wish there was, but there's not. So for Jigsaw, what they do is you purchase it, and if you don't like it, they can give you a full refund. I have had a few guys that have done that. The other thing is that you can always just pull up, you know, a past stream and just watch the order flow on a past stream, right? Can you get the DOM for free? Well, so there are DOMs out there that are not as nice as the Jigsaw DOM, but that are relatively cheap. Yeah. Every time this song comes up, it's like, this is so raunchy. Sierra DOM is pretty good, yeah. So probably your cheapest bet for like getting features and everything is Sierra Charts. So Sierra Charts is like $30 a month or something like that. Sounds like a life goal. There are a couple of songs in here that are absolutely them just copying other popular songs for sure. Yeah, so Sierra Charts has a pretty good order book. Most of the newer platforms have order book that is okay. Ninja Trader has an order book, but it's awful. I mean, it's kind of a rough thing because here's the deal, guys. Futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. So even if I was going to come in and trade micros, okay, let's just say, well, not let's just say, but my recommendation, if you really want to trade for a long time, is really strict risks settings. Like you don't want to lose more than 1% in a day would be preferable. Maybe like a crazy day could be like 5 to 10%, but you want like your loss to be around 1%, right? So if you come in and you're just going to trade micro futures, 1% is only $10, right? Which is your average size move, even here in the micro treasuries, which is like the smallest instrument, right? So the reality is, I don't think it would make much sense to trade with less than $1,000. Although you can certainly get away with it. And so, you know, in order for futures trading to really make sense, you have to have that ability to take risk, and that's why the futures market is kind of the way that it is that they anticipate that anybody that has the ability to take on the risk of trading futures is also going to be able to spend $500 for a platform and stuff like that, right? Yeah, well, dude, what is going on with oil? Oh, I'm just hearing from the news squawk that the Bank of England completed an operation. They sold a bunch of gilts. Maybe that had something to do with the selling. Dude, oil is... I can't believe they flipped back down. I can't. Man. Yeah, I don't know how Ninja's dumb is so bad either, Morgan. It really is terrible. So, yeah, anyways, probably if you're going to get started in futures, probably you want like $2,000, spend $500 on Jigsaw, put $500 aside for like, you know, having to pay for live trade license and all that sort of stuff, and put $1,500 in the account. And if you don't have that, that's okay. You can always just come and watch here with us on the stream and just watch my screen and learn that way. Yes. So you can tell whether I'm probably shouldn't tell you guys this, but you can tell whether I'm trading a live account or not. Here on my DOM at the top, it'll say the instrument name dash and then the account name. So I have like a serious and experimentation. So if you look here on my ZN, you see how it says experiment, blah, 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 blah. Serious. Oops, change it to serious. Right. And then the one that's like an actual, my live account, it starts with the number, right? So all of these trades that I took this morning in the 10-year were all on the sim account, right? And it's the best sim account, to be frank. Like, it's stingy with the fills. It's probably more stingy than real life is, frankly. And other simulators lie to you. They tell you that you got filled when there's no way that you would have gotten filled. My true eval numbers are passing 35% with a super high risk because I do not want to waste my time trading for nothing. I was looking at my performance the other day, not my futures trading performance, but just like the performance of my overall portfolio. And my portfolio is doing better than the S&P 500, and it's doing better than the Russell. But the amount of risk that so like the standard deviation of my portfolio that I get to pull those numbers off were not worth it. I look at it, I was like, wow, there really is more risk in this portfolio than I probably should. If I was investing somebody else's money, I don't think that they would appreciate that kind of a, you know, sharp ratio. Only buy when heavily discounted, 80% off for Apex, earn to trade, career path. Need to start at the 50k level. Basic TCP only has 550 day loss, almost impossible. Yep, Jigsaw is a one-time payment and then $50 per month to connect. I've been seeing, I don't know what it is, if it's like the time of year or if people are just getting more interested in order flow in general or whatever, but we've been getting a more steady stream of affiliate sales through Jigsaw lately. It's kind of curious. Maybe it is becoming more popular because, you know, like Gary Norton, he wrote that post about order flow and everything. I'm sure you get the same questions a lot. Oh, yeah. I make a small commit. I don't know if it's a small commission. I don't know if I'm supposed to say how much it is, but it really helps the channel out. Let me put it that way. It really does. So right now I'm saving so that I can build a new desk. We're gonna buy the metal to make our own desk. Or we've already mostly finished the wood. I think it's a piece of birch. I've decided it's birch. Here's the wood. That's birch. I think. I'm super excited about it. But so I'm we're gonna put the metal in on that. That should help because then my son can come into the room and I don't have to worry about him like yanking everything off, right? Because he won't be able to get to the cords. But then after that, I think that we want to in 2023 build a new PC, new machine. So yeah, the affiliate link, I don't want to like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, like the reality is it's a good product. I really, really love the product. I'm more than happy to promote it, and it's absolutely what I recommend to trade with. There's a lot of good software, but I do think that Jigsaw is the best, and so I'm more than happy to promote it. You don't make enough from it that it would like replace my income or anything, but it's not a trivial amount. Is the only thing I was getting at with that. You gonna learn this come hell or high water. So have you watched my order flow video series yet? Yeah. Well, the thing with Jigsaw is that the guy that developed it really understands a trader's needs from the software way better than any of the other software developers do, in my opinion. A lot of the other software developers that I've seen, it's like they're lacking on one side. Either they're not really a very good software developer, but they are a trader and they're just kind of getting by, or they're just somebody being contracted out to develop the software and they don't really understand anything about trading, right? And Peter from Jigsaw, he really gets to both. And so when they put in new features into Jigsaw, you get things that are like new features. You get stuff that's like useful. And he doesn't just stick shit in there that like isn't proven to work at all. I mean, they are starting to get like indicators and stuff. I have some ideas on which indicators I'd like to see, but I don't think that they'd care too much, right? But they're really good in that respect, and so has been a little bit slow. Their development lately with their charts has been like taking way longer than I wanted it to, but they're still the best software platform by far. You guys have yours was the first video I watched about Overflow besides this ad about it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it really is like this is such a good point, Greg, is that like in terms of learning the DOM, being able to come in here and add a bunch of orders and move them around and time my click to try and catch the edge here and all that's the most powerful part of the DOM. That's why it's worth paying the $50 for the live trade license for Jigsaw, in my opinion, to be able to just click right there, because I can look right here and I can click here, right? I can see everything that I need to, but keeping my eyes in one location. And that's really, really powerful. And I've heard some people try and claim, because they're pushing their technical analysis systems and order flow or whatever is eating into their margins. And so they'll say, oh no, the DOM is a scam. And I'm like, well, like, that's a ridiculous thing to say. It's a tool. It works really well. It's a tool, not a strategy, right? The stuff that I teach you in my order flow series, it's not a strategy. I do have a strategy that I'm kind of sharing with people, but what I'm giving there is just the information. It's just that these are the behaviors. So there's one that's called the stylized behavior for markets. Proven market behaviors is like what it says on the thumbnail of it. That's I think the most powerful video, because that's the one that shows you things that we know happen in the market because of the market microstructure. Basically behaviors that you want to look for when we're trading. And they can kind of help you stay out of trouble, right? I've emailed with Dave. He's not sure he does the programming. I think that he did do a lot of the programming, but he's more of like a project manager than he is the programmer. Yeah. You gotta understand it from his perspective, though, right? Like he gets emails every day about things that people want to be put in Jigsaw, and like, how do you decide what's the next thing that you gotta put in, right? It's a tough thing. I think that they had to make the right choice by putting charts in there, because the way that all of the brokers are going, it's basically consolidating towards specialized brokers. Like, if you want to use NinjaTrader 8, you have to use NinjaTrader brokerage, right? And so that kind of meant that this dual setup that I'm using here right now is not really going to work for people forever, right? So they had to do that. Zero Dom is good, but you have to take extra care not to make mistakes, like adding contracts when trying to exit, etc., etc. Zero Charts is just a confusing program. Like I said, like I'm here's how Zero Charts works. Is they're the guys in charge over there. They see that some other platform has this feature, and they say, "Oh, we need to go and add this feature too." And then they probably hand it off to some contractor or whatever, and he writes the program. This is why it's such a jumble. It's like none of the settings like are categorized well. It's just like it's a huge mess, right? Sierra Chart says it's because there's a smorgasbord of stolen features, essentially, right? And the person that's programming it just has absolutely no interface design skills at all. Sierra, I don't even ask them any questions, they will blast you. So does Jigsaw only work with Ninja, or can I use TradingView with it? Okay, so I don't think you can use TradingView with it. So Jigsaw has a bridge that some applications can send their data. So like you can get your data into NinjaTrader and then use the bridge to send the data over to Jigsaw. I don't think that as many people are doing that anymore. So I think that a lot of people and newer traders especially are just using the built-in Jigsaw charts. They're not terrible. It's just that I have a lot of indicators and things that I rely on. I wouldn't even really call them indicators, but like I need to see the dollar index. I have to see it. I need to see what the spreads are doing. They don't have that in Jigsaw yet. So for me, I have to use NinjaTrader, right? But if you just want a chart, it does a fine job. And I think that a lot of people are getting by just fine now using Jigsaw's built-in charts. But I don't think that TradingView has the bridge. The other thing is like it kind of depends on your data, right? So if you have Rhythmic, you can use Rhythmic's plugin mode, and the plugin mode will forward the data to Rhythmic's Trader Pro will forward the data to NinjaTrader and Jigsaw. That's what I do, right? That way, if NinjaTrader goes down, Jigsaw still works. What is the difference between looking at the dollar index versus just the 6J, 6C, 6B? Well, so you could do that. It's just that the dollar index is an index of like 10 different currencies, right? So it's a lot easier to understand what's going on with the currency market by just looking at the dollar index as a whole. It really is. So I would say the difference is convenience. Otherwise, I'd have to have so many freaking charts up, right? ZB is bouncing back here pretty good. But look at this over in ZB. The cumulative deltas. Well, okay, so that buy was, that sell maybe kind of was, but cumulative delta and price don't seem to be lining up with each other very well at all in the 30-year. Set synthetic dollar index seems to give some advanced indications. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but it does seem like that when you have like the actual dollar index, that you get a chart that makes sense to me. So it's like Forex charts are different. You've ever looked at this? Like the patterns that I would be looking for on a Forex, not that patterns work or anything, but it is just looks, their charts just look different, right? They're kind of more jagged and they kind of go in these long trends, and then there'll be a big move back up at the end of the week and that sort of a thing, right? Their charts are just completely different, right? But the dollar index looks like any other chart to me. NinjaTrader 8 is just too expensive, otherwise I would use it. Well, I'm using the demo version of it right now, Zach, so I have a developer license with it, but it doesn't work with my Rhythmic setup, so I'm not using that right now. I'm just using the demo version. Can you get level 2 with that? Yeah, it'll show me level 2. You just can't enter any orders through it, right? I mean, their DOM is awful. Here's the static super DOM, right? The demo I had would not let me do it. Oh, that's interesting. You know, the thing is that the demo that I have is like 5 years old. Like the demo license that I have is like 5 years old. So maybe there's more to it than that. Yeah, it really is kind of curious that there's a lot of different software packages and data packages, and they all kind of have their pluses and minuses, but there's not really like one definitive setup that's clearly better than everything else. And everything seems to have these deficiencies somewhere in them, where it's like, yeah, like I find things in NinjaTrader all the time that frustrate me. Like this thing where I can't view them in like percentages, so I had to make my own indicator to do that. It's really retarded, right? So I'm sure eventually the industry will get there, though. I think talking, you know, back to the thing that kind of started this, though, QJ saying like, oh, I'm sure you get these questions all the time. This is like that's like some of the funnest stuff, you know? It's like you get doing your setup, because these are like really advanced programs that can do lots of really funky things, and there's just so much to explore in them and try and figure out and stuff. It's one of the funnest parts of just playing with the software. It's one of the funnest parts about day trading. For sure. Well, it looks like the 10-year is going to come back to VWAP now, huh? So I think that it was around 8:30ish that I heard on the news squawk that the UK finished their selling of gilts or whatever. I didn't know that was happening today, but I wonder if that was why the treasuries were selling so hard, because that action did match up with some of the action that we saw back in August when the UK market was going all nuts, right? I could write indicators and strategies in ThinkScript and NinjaScript for day. I think Seth just hit a stop loss. What do you mean by that? Oh, did you hear the sound? It is time for me to get going. Only took some live trades today, but I was pretty decent trading. This one right here frustrated me because that should have been a scratch. That should have been a scratch. Oh yeah. You know what it is I've been abusing this battery. So the battery only works for about 3 hours. And since I'm going to almost dead every day, that's not good for a battery. I should probably get one of those things. Fix it. Use this as a permanent power. Anyways, it's time for me to get going, guys. I'm gonna go and lay down the rest of the day, I think. So I will see you tomorrow, though. I'll still be here. In the meantime, stay excellent.